Hello friends, welcome to the bridge connecting the aspirants. In this video, our focus is on daily current events of national and international importance for UPSC preparation. Here, I will be compiling important daily current events from various sources such as The Hindu, PIB, Times of India and LiveMint, etc. If you are watching this video for the first time, do check out my other videos on UPSC book lists and their contents, and also please subscribe and share these videos. It gives me motivation to come up with more and more cool videos with great content. Okay friends, let us begin our discussion from 15th of April 2020 current affairs. So whatever that is there previous to this, I'll cover systematically. Do not worry. Now, every day we are going to cover current affairs in two sections. One is mainly for prelims, that is the factual information for prelims. Second thing is, which is important for both prelims and mains. So here more elaboration and analysis will be there. Now let us enter into 15th April 2020 current events. Let us start with the events which are important for prelims, the facts for prelims. First, India is working with USA over a currency swap. Now let us understand what is a currency swap. So I'll explain with an example. Suppose there is a country X and a country Y. Country X has a currency A, country Y has a currency B. Now the international trade between these two countries cannot happen in their domestic currencies because A is not accepted in Y, B is not accepted in X. So there must be an intermediary currency. Let us say US dollar is universally accepted. There are some other currencies as well. Now for X, in order to do business with Y, it has to exchange its currency A into US dollars, then that money must be given to Y. The same is the case with country Y as well. So here there is a lot of exchange which is happening, and this exchange is subjected to the market risks. Okay. So there might be volatility with respect to the exchange rates. So in order to reduce all such exchange rates, two countries, for example India and Japan, they come into a currency swap where they will do business with a predetermined rate of exchange. Now India and Japan have $75 billion of currency swap agreement. So thereby, what are the benefits? Number one, there won't be any sudden changes in the exchange rate. So it is not subjected to that because they are already predetermined. Next, the volatility against the third currency, for example here in the US dollar or any other currency, is less. Okay, that can be eliminated here. The third thing is multiple currency exchanges can be reduced, like I have given the example here, how many times the exchange is happening. So it also discourages any speculative attacks on the domestic currency, so it enhances domestic economic stability. Clear? So that's why it is important. That's it. Now let us move to second event. Next one is with respect to Nihang community, which is a particular Sikh order. Within the Sikh, they are separate order. So why this was in news? You might remember there was a viral video in the social media that a Sikh person has chopped the hand of a policeman. So that person belonged to this particular order. Okay. So let us see some of the characteristics of that particular Nihang community. They wear the blue robes, like I have given the image here, the photograph here. So blue robes, and they also carry kirpan, that is sword, and the spears. Then their turban is decorated with a steel quietus, a ring यहाँ पर देख रहे हो, यहाँ पर ये वाला ring, ठीक है. So these are the physical appearance of these persons, and further the gurudwaras of this particular community have the blue flag, hoisting of the blue flag instead of saffron. In any other Gurudwara you find the saffron colored flag, but this community there is a blue flag. Okay. Now the meaning of Nihang is important for prelims. In Persian it means alligator, but in Sanskrit it means the person who is without fear, or the pure person, or the person who has left all the worldly gains and comforts. Okay. Now let us move to the next event, which is ASEAN Summit. Recently, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit has taken place online. Why online? Of course, you know, there is a pandemic which is spreading. Because of it, the people have, you know, held this meeting online mode. Now, what is the content of this meeting? They asked to open the routes for protecting the jobs and securing the food, also stockpiling of medical equipment. For that, this is important. ASEAN is a regional organization comprising of all ASEAN nations, and it was established through Bangkok Declaration. Okay. It has its headquarters in Indonesia, and the motto of it is one vision, one identity, one community. So some facts related to it is the third largest market in the world, and there is a free trade agreement with respect to this, which is known by Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. India was earlier a member to this. Recently, India has walked out of it because our interests are not matching it. Clear? So these are the important facts for prelims. Now, moving on to the events which are important for both prelims and mains. First and foremost, there was recently in news, the Supreme Court has upheld the floor test conducted by Madhya Pradesh governor. So let us understand the issue. Earlier till March, Madhya Pradesh had government ruled by Congress party. But in between, 22 MLAs from Congress party has resigned. So there was a rising of the doubt that the government might have lost the majority or the confidence. So the governor has asked the government to prove their strength once again in the floor. So the governor has asked this chief minister to prove his majority in the house. Okay. So first let us understand what is floor test. Simply it means proving your majority, that you still have majority in the house and you have the confidence of the people and you can rule. So for ruling, a party or a coalition of party requires magic number, that is 50% of the seats plus 1. So until unless the party enjoys this magic number, the party can have its ruling. If the party is not having such a number, then it is not eligible to do so. Okay. So floor test is clear. Now some of the important observations made by Supreme Court in this case. What are they? First and foremost, it has upheld the decision of the governor. Further, it said that the governor has all the reasons to believe that a certain government during its term, remember this, has lost the confidence, and hence he can call them to the floor test through the constitutional means. But however, this belief of the governor is bound to the constitutional authority. It should not overreach the constitutional provisions. Okay. This means the governor's belief should not be in favor of any particular political party. Clear? Now it also emphasized that the floor test is not only just after the immediate election, but it can be called at any time during the tenure. When a Lok Sabha or state assembly is elected, it is elected for a tenure of 5 years. So during this tenure, within this 5 years period, whenever the governor or the president feels that the particular government has lost the confidence or the majority, then it can call for a floor test. This is another important observation made by the Supreme Court. Then finally, one more observation made by it is that, so in doing so, the governor does not have to wait for any pending decision in front of speaker with respect to disqualification or resignation of the MLAs or MPs. So under the 10th schedule, under anti-defection, the speaker has power to disqualify or accept or reject the resignations by the MLAs. But however, there is no time bound. There is no specific time कि इतने टाइम के अंदर ये वाला हाँ करना है या ना करना है. इसलिए the Supreme Court held that कि the governor doesn't have to wait for such a decisions. ठीक है. So these are the important observations made by the Supreme Court. Remember, this role of the governor is always an important issue. So the discretionary powers of governor in the constitution have always been a contentious issue between the center-state relations. Please pay more emphasis on the role of the governor and go through M. Lakshmikant, the chapter on governor, okay, to supplement your knowledge. Now, next, moving on to the second issue. Recently, ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, has advised for pooling of tests to check for COVID-19. So first and foremost, let us understand what is pooling. So before that, what is the need for pooling? See, India has limited resources and less equipment with more population, and number of cases are increasing day by day. So in order to find out whether there is a community spread or not, we need to conduct more test. Random testing की जरूरत है. But India में equipment और test kits कम है, इसलिए we are going for the pooling test. ठीक है. So pooling का मतलब क्या होता है? I'll explain with an example. Suppose say there is a locality with 40 members. Clear? Now I wanted to check these 40 members for coronavirus. Now if I go one by one, it will consume 40 test kits. Whereas in pooling, what we do is we'll sample them into different sets. Suppose say we'll sample into 8 sets, each having 5 members. Now these 8 samples I'll conduct corona test. So each sample has 5 members. Now I'll test for this using one kit. Similarly, another 5 using one kit. Now out of these 8, suppose say 3 samples got positive, remaining 5 got negative. Now these 5 samples comprising of into 5, which is 25 members, have negative. That means no corona, so they can be discarded. So we are not interested in these persons. Now these 3 samples, which has 3 into 5, which is 15 members. These 15 members, there is a potential that out of these 15 members, some members or all of them have coronavirus. Now what we will do? We will do the individual testing on these 15 members. By doing this, how many test kits we need? 15. Here 15. Earlier we needed 8. Total altogether we needed 23 test kits to test 40 members. So समझ में आया कितने की टेस्ट किट कम हो गया? 17 टेस्ट किट कम हो गया जो दूसरी जगह पे हम यूज कर सकते हैं. So this is how the pooling works. समझ में आया है? ठीक है. Now moving on. So the working I have given it here. So please go through it. Now while doing it, ICMR has given some recommendations, that is guidelines. First and foremost, the number of samples in a pool must not be more than 5. So pooling is for more than 2 but less than 5. So your sampling must be within this range. ठीक है. So it should not exceed 5, क्योंकि अगर 5 से ज़्यादा है then chances of missing the positive cases is more. That's why it is limited to maximum of 5. Next, second is it is only suitable, it should be followed only in low prevalence areas, that is the areas which have very low prevalence of 2 to 5%. Recently the central government has divided India into red, orange and green zones. So in red and orange zones where the prevalence is less, you can go with the pooling testing. Okay. Now another thing is, if a person has a confirmed contact with a person with positive coronavirus, then such a person should not be done through pooling. ये लोग को pooling से हटा देना है. Such a persons को क्या करना है? Individually separate testing करना है. ठीक है. Because जो जिनके साथ कांटेक्ट है, द पॉजिटिव केसेस के साथ कांटेक्ट है, देयर इज हाई चांसेस दैट दिस पर्सन हैज कोरोना वायरस. ठीक है. So these are the guidelines given by ICMR. Now what are the benefits of using this? First and foremost, it reduces the total number of test kits needed. So I have given with the example, you can see how significantly reduction is there. Second thing is, in India, the laboratories are working, they have huge workload right now. So if this pooling is done, the workload will be reduced and we can find more number of cases, we can test more number of cases in less time, so it reduces their workload. Third thing is, it is most cost effective, particularly with the nations which have limited resources like India. Okay. Now another thing is, it also helps in preventing the community spread, because by doing the random testing, right now India is not doing random testing because we are lacking test kits. The government is taking all steps to do the random testing and to see whether there is community spread or not. So this can surely help in random testing and finding out whether there is community spread in India or not. Clear? So this is the entire concept behind pooling of test. Okay. Now the next important thing is WHO and its funding. Why it is in news? Recently, Mr. Donald Trump, the Honorable President of USA, has said that he is going to halt all the funding to WHO. Now let us understand what is WHO first. So it was founded in 1948. It has headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. So why it is important? It is one of the specialized agencies of United Nations organization, and it particularly deals with international health issues. It is a dedicated organization for this particular issue. Now, there is a highest decision making body at WHO. So it is done through annual World Health Assembly attended by all the member nations. Okay. Now let us understand how WHO is funded. See, there are two types of funding potential sources for WHO. One is assessed contributions. So these are the dues compulsory payments given by member nations. Being a member of WHO, depending upon your wealth, a country's wealth and its population, you have to contribute little bit towards the WHO. So these contributions are mandatory. Then there is another contribution which is voluntary contribution. The name suggests voluntary, marzi hai bhai. Okay. So meaning the member nations and some organizations like NGOs are there, WB, World Bank, Gates Foundation is there. So such organizations, they contribute, they give money to WHO for its activities. Okay. So remember that the assessed contributions, they include only 1/4 of WHO funding, whereas the voluntary ones include 3/4. So highest dependency is on the voluntary ones, out of which USA contributes the highest. Okay. So now you can understand the importance of USA stopping its funding. Okay. Moving on, why USA is stopping the funding? The first and foremost thing is USA saying that WHO was too lenient with China. It did not it did not provide the enough information with respect to the pandemic of COVID-19. And another thing is, it has delayed in declaring COVID-19 as public health emergency of international concern. Then third thing is, WHO must be held accountable for its inefficient working. On these three lines, USA is stopping its fundings. Take care. Now, what will happen if USA stops the funding? So, what are the consequences? Number one, the politicization of the pandemic of COVID-19, since it is still in the rising and number of cases are increasing. So, during such a times, reducing the funding, so it potentially limits the ability of WHO to fight against this pandemic in the coming days. So the checking of this COVID-19 in the coming days, particularly in least developed countries, becomes a question mark. Okay. Then WHO significance is it declines, and the operations conducted by WHO, particularly in the sub-Saharan region, and some of the health accessories given by WHO, and the activities taken to prevent and control some of the pandemics and some of the epidemics like Ebola, polio, etc. also under question mark. Okay. Next thing is, it provides further scope for China. As USA is reducing its funding, stopping its funding, China gets the opportunity to fund more and more so that it can influence more and more in WHO. Okay. So the power dynamics in WHO severely shifts towards China. So this is another concern. Next, it also highlights the US intention of retreating from the global affairs. So since the inception of Trump as the president of USA, he has been retreating USA from many international organizations like Paris Agreement, TPP, next UNESCO, etc. So the trend continues here as well. So remember, there are some consequences on India as well, particularly with respect to India-China relations. They are highly stressed. So the higher influence of China in the international platforms such as WHO, it might further reduces the position of India to climb to the global position. Okay. So what could be done? What is the way forward? How US should have behaved is discussed in way forward. So first and foremost is, the USA has been criticized for stopping the funds and many organizations and countries are criticizing it. So if at all you wanted to hold the WHO for accountability, then you could have gone with a committee, a high level committee which investigates into the WHO response towards the COVID-19, whether it has promptly responded or not, instead of financially choking WHO. Okay. So further, it also gives us the important lessons that there is need for institutional reform in WHO, more democratic functioning needed in WHO. Okay. So next, it also tells us that there must be flexibility of funding. Right now, we are depending on 3/4 of voluntary contributions. Voluntary contributions can be stopped at any point of time. So that's why there must be secondary or diversification of funding. Okay. So these are the learnings from whatever the events that has happened. All right. So these are all important events which are highlighted in 15th of April. So a quick revision. Prelims, what we have seen: first we have seen the currency swap and we understood what is it. Second, the Nihang community and their role. Third, Asian. Next, prelims and mains, what we have seen. First, with respect to floor test, what is it and what Supreme Court has observed. Second thing, with respect to the pooling of COVID tests, pooling of tests. Okay. And third, WHO and funding. So I hope the concepts are clear. If you have any doubts or queries, do comment. I'll reply within 24 hours. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Thank you very much.